How many more mornings will you wake up, look at the clock, and promise yourself you'll change tomorrow? Tomorrow is not a guarantee. Time doesn't stop, it doesn't slow, and it doesn't care about your excuses. Every day you hesitate, another opportunity quietly dies. Let me tell you something. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is, I still have time. You don't. You're aging. The world is moving. The people you admire aren't waiting for the perfect moment. They're taking imperfect action right now. Students, athletes, entrepreneurs, the ones who make it are the ones who stop negotiating with time. If you don't take control, time will control you. Stop pretending the clock isn't ticking. Stop pretending you can afford to waste another year. The only moment you own is this one. What you do with it will decide everything. You're not trapped. You're not cursed. You're not doomed. You're settling. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. You're not stuck because the world is against you. You're stuck because you've lowered your standards. You've made peace with mediocrity. You've accepted grades that don't reflect your potential, effort that doesn't reflect your dreams, and habits that don't build the future you want. People love to say, I can't move forward. In reality, they won't. Settling is easier. It's uncomfortable. But comfort is a slow poison. Look at anyone who's achieved greatness, from students who rose out of poverty to leaders who built empires. None of them got there by settling. They raised the bar on themselves and refused to lower it. You're not a tree. You're not planted. You can move. But first, you have to admit you've been sitting in a cage with an open door. When you stop pushing, you start decaying. A machine left in the corner gathers rust. A body left on the couch gathers weakness. A mind left unchallenged gathers fear. That's what's happening to you when you stop moving. Your potential isn't frozen, it's rotting. The dreams you wrote down in notebooks, the plans you swore you'd execute, the fire you once felt, it's all slipping away because you're not feeding it. Success is motion. Growth is movement. Look at athletes who take a season off, their form drops. Look at students who stop practicing. Their skill fades. Life rewards the moving. And every time you decide to do nothing, you're choosing to let your edge dull. If you don't move, you lose. That's not a threat, that's reality. Motion keeps you alive. Stagnation buries you alive. This isn't just another speech. This is your wake-up call. Enough downfall. Enough excuses. Enough waiting for someone to come and fix what only you can fix. You've been asleep at the wheel long enough, coasting through your own life. It's time to grab the steering wheel back. Today is not just another day. It's the dividing line between who you were and who you can be. History doesn't remember the excuses. It remembers the comebacks. Every student, every fighter, every underdog who ever turned their life around had a single moment when they said, no more. This is that moment for you. Not tomorrow. Not next semester. Not when you feel ready. Now. This is the moment your story shifts from downfall to comeback. But only if you take it. Will you? Downfall doesn't always start with failure. Sometimes it starts with a tiny decision, a skipped assignment, a missed class, a silent I'll do it later. At first it feels harmless. You think you're in control, but then it happens again and again, and suddenly what was once a spark in you, that drive, that hunger, has turned into smoke. That's the trap. You don't see it collapsing. You just wake up one day and realize you've stopped climbing. Let me ask you something. When did you stop caring? When did you stop showing up for yourself? Not for your teachers, not for your parents, for you. Because that moment matters. The slow collapse doesn't come with alarms. It comes with silence, with comfort, with choosing easy over excellence, distraction over discipline. You didn't fall off overnight. But make no mistake, the fall is real. The good news, if you can trace the steps backward, you can walk them forward. Comfort isn't always soft blankets and rest. Sometimes it's a trap with padded walls. And you've been living inside it. You've gotten used to doing just enough to pass, enough to not get questioned, enough to coast. But coasting only works downhill. Let me paint it straight. Comfort becomes a cage when you stop challenging yourself. You stop stretching, you stop sweating, and worse, from of all, you stop dreaming. You might think you're safe, but safety is not the goal. Growth is. Ask any successful student, athlete, or leader. They'll tell you they didn't get where they are by staying in their comfort zone. They got there by breaking out of it. Right now, you may be telling yourself, at least I'm not failing. But is not failing the same as succeeding? Be honest. You weren't meant to survive an average. You were built to rise in excellence. But you'll never know what you're capable of if you keep settling for what's comfortable. Let's not dance around this. Your goals are starving. Every hour you spend scrolling, binging, clicking, and escaping, your dreams sit there dying of hunger. You think it's just a break, but breaks have turned into habits. Habits have turned into lifestyles, and now distraction has become your default. Look at your screen time. Be real. Is that the life of someone chasing greatness? Every minute you give away to mindless content is a minute you steal from your own potential. Let me tell you something. Goals don't grow in neglect. They grow in attention, in focus, in effort, and you haven't been feeding them. Imagine your dream as a fire. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you added wood to it? Or have you just been watching everyone else's fire burn while yours turns to ash? This is your wake-up moment. You either feed part of your goals or they fade. There's no in between. You want to come back? Good, but understand this, you can't fix what you won't face. If you keep pretending everything's fine when it's not, you're lying to the one person who needs truth the most, you. Take a moment, strip away the noise, no phone, no friends, no filters, just you in the mirror. What do you see? Not just the face, but the habits, the excuses, the patterns, the fears. Are they helping you or holding you? See, growth begins where denial ends. Most people don't change because they're too proud to admit they need to. But there is no shame in recognizing you've fallen. The shame is in refusing to rise. This isn't about guilt, it's about grit. Look your reality in the face and say, yes, I've fallen short, yes, I've slipped, but I will not stay here. That's where the comeback begins. Not in motivation videos, not in someday plans, but in the decision to confront what's really holding you back. Let me hit you with the truth. Nobody's coming. Not your parents, not your teachers, not some magical future version of you. The rescue mission you're hoping for, it doesn't exist. And it shouldn't. Because this is your life, your battle, your comeback. I know, it's hard. You feel like the world's been unfair. Maybe it has. But fairness isn't your savior. Action is. It's time to stop waiting for someone to pick you up and start learning how to stand up. The longer you wait for help, the deeper you sink. Not because you're weak, but because you're passive. This is the moment you realize your power doesn't come from being saved. It comes from taking charge. From saying, I've been down, but I'm not staying down. From taking ownership of every grade, every missed opportunity, every habit that's dragging you under. You don't need a superhero. You need responsibility. You need you fully engaged, fully committed, and fully done with waiting. You didn't accidentally end up behind. You chose this. I know that's a punch to the gut, but hear me out, it's also your greatest source of freedom. You chose to scroll instead of study. You chose to watch one more episode. You chose to hit snooze instead of showing up. And yes, it felt good in the moment. That's how distraction works. It's a trap wrapped in pleasure. But the pain, it comes later. When the grades drop, when the opportunities vanish, when you're stuck in a cycle of I'll do better next time. Let me ask you this, how many next times have you already wasted? If your life was a project and your habits were your team, would you be proud of the work so far? Distraction and delay are not things that happen to you. They are things you allow. And once you own that, once you stop blaming circumstances and start taking command, everything changes. You become the leader your life's been waiting for. Imagine your life as a car. At some point, you stop steering. You let fear grab the wheel. You let laziness hit the gas. You let doubt navigate the route. And now here you are, off course in a ditch, wondering how you got so far from your destination. Here's the truth. You crashed the car. But here's the good news. You can fix it. Stop standing around the wreckage blaming the road. The road didn't do this. You did. You weren't paying attention. You ignored the warning signs. You made the turns that led you here. And I get it, it hurts to admit that, it's humbling. But you need to feel that before you can fix that. Because if you cause the damage, that means you also have the power to rebuild, to get back in, to start driving with intention. So grab the wheel. No more autopilot. No more letting outside forces decide where you go. From this point on, you drive. Taking responsibility is like lifting a heavy weight. It burns, it humbles, it exposes your weakness. But it also builds strength, and eventually it sets you free. Why? Because when you blame, you give away your power. You're saying this isn't in my control. But when you take responsibility fully, even for the mess, you take the power back. You stop being a victim. You start being a warrior. You stop reacting. You start responding. Look at anyone who's ever transformed their life. They all had one thing in common. They stopped pointing fingers. They looked in the mirror and said, it's me. And that's good news, because if you are the problem, you are also the solution. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about standing up. It's about choosing accountability, not as punishment, but as power. That shift from blaming to building is the most important move you'll ever make. So feel the sting of responsibility, then use it. Let it become the fire that forges your comeback. Here's the twist most people miss: the same habits that locked you in can unlock you out. The same mind that created the mess can create the masterpiece. You're not trapped, you're just holding the key and refusing to turn it. That's not weakness, that's fear. Fear of failing again, fear of what it would mean if you actually tried. But let me remind you, fear is just a visitor. It knocks, it whispers, but you don't have to let it live in you. If you built the cage, you can build the door. You can walk through it, you can design a different path. Not by waiting for permission, but by deciding. Look around. Every comeback story, every legend, every person who pulled themselves out of the dirt had one thing in common. They took ownership. Then they took action. You've got both tools in your hands. So what now? Do you stay stuck or do you turn the key? People think comebacks happen in loud moments like fireworks or fanfare. But the truth, comebacks are built like buildings, brick by brick, quietly, relentlessly. You don't need to become a new person overnight. You need to make one right choice, then another. Then stack those choices like bricks until you've built something strong enough to stand on. You're gonna have days where you slip. You're gonna hear voices, your own and others, saying, "What's the point?" Ignore them. Focus on the brick in front of you. You don't build a wall by thinking about the wall. You build it by laying one brick perfectly, intentionally. That brick might be waking up early, finishing that assignment, saying no to that distraction. That's your blueprint, one small win at a time. Stack enough of those, you're not just rebuilding, you're becoming unshakable. We love the glory, the medals, the viral speeches, but what we forget is this: every champion you admire was once in the mud. They were overlooked, they were doubted, they failed hard. Look at someone like Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team, or Oprah fired from her first job because she wasn't fit for TV. These weren't setbacks, they were setups. Setups for comebacks. What makes a champion isn't talent, it's toughness. It's the refusal to stay down after you've been knocked flat. It's the long nights no one sees, the silent tears, the invisible battles. Right now you might feel buried, but maybe you're planted, and the mud you're in, that's the ground champions grow from. So stop envying the spotlight. Get comfortable in the shadows. That's where the fire starts. You don't need a miracle, you need motion. One step, one action. That's how comebacks begin. Too many people waste years waiting for perfect timing, for the right mood, for motivation to magically show up. But let me break this to you. Motion creates motivation, not the other way around. You want to feel inspired? Start working. You want to feel proud? Start showing up. You want momentum? Start moving. Think about climbing a mountain. You don't leap to the top. You take one grueling step, then another. And eventually you look back and realize you're not at the bottom anymore. Stop looking for the elevator. There is none. There's only the climb. And yes, it's hard, but hard is what makes it worth it. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just the first step. Take it today. Enough downfall, enough delay, enough self-doubt. No more waiting, no more wishing. Now is the moment you rewrite your story. Not next week, not when it's easy, not when you're more confident. Now. So take that first step, however small, and never look back, because the world doesn't need another excuse, it needs your comeback. Word count for section 10, 400 words, a commanding, heart-pounding conclusion that wraps the speech with clarity, grit, and unstoppable energy.